All right, welcome back to the show. You guys saw the title. It's not clickbait. I am absolutely selling my gear, but not in the way that the title or the thumbnail would suggest that I mean. I am selling some gear though, and the two main pieces of gear that I'm selling are my Sigma lenses, the 35 millimeter 1.2 and the 135 millimeter 1.8. And there's a couple reasons why I'm selling this gear, and there's one really huge reason why I'm selling it. And so let's get into it. I bought these lenses together, actually, not together, at the same time. This 135 lens, this 135, sorry, that's the 135. This 35 millimeter 1.2 is a specialty lens. It's a lens that I really wanted. It is 1.2. It's the only 35 millimeter 1.2 on the market. It's got a great image. There's really nothing wrong with it other than the size of it. So you guys have seen me in this video confuse the two of these lenses already, and so I just want to take off this lens hood and I want to hold these two lenses up. Remember, this is a 35, this is a 135, and when you put them close to each other, you can see that these lenses are the same size. And so anyone who shoots will automatically know what the problem with this lens is. This lens is just too big to use as a everyday carry around lens, especially when my everyday camera is the Sony A7C. So here's this tiny little compact camera. Let me take this lens off. Here's this tiny little compact camera, and then here is this ginormous lens, and this is not an everyday carry setup. The bigger issue that I have is just that the lens is so heavy. I don't remember what the weight is. I'll put it on the screen here. But what I really worry about a lot with this lens is that when I have it mounted on this camera and I'm using like a tripod or something, I'm worried that the lens mount isn't strong enough to hold the lens, especially if like a gust of wind or something comes and blows this thing. It's falling over. The second thing is that just trying to hold this lens with this tiny little grip on this camera becomes like really, and I'm a big guy, I'm a big strong guy, guys. I am, 6'4", almost 6'5", 270 pounds. I lift, but just having to grip onto this camera with dear life to hold this large lens is just becoming a chore. And even when I am using the bigger camera, right, when I'm using my A7 IV, in fact, hold on. So I got this A7 R4 here, and even when this lens is on a regular size camera with, a regular size grip, it's still a huge load of a setup. And so as I begin to shoot more street photos and carry this around for long periods of time, when I'm out, shooting street photos, I'm out there for hours. I have actually felt the fatigue in my wrists after shooting with this 1.2, for hours. And so that is the first reason that I am getting rid of the 35 1.2. And then when it comes to the 135, which has absolutely become my favorite lens for just walking around and shooting street with, the 135 is a heavy lens. It's a beautiful lens, and I love the image that I get from it. I mean, come on, look at how much glass is in this lens. It's beautiful, you know what I mean? Guys, I do want to stress that there is absolutely nothing wrong with these lenses. Even when compared to their Sony counterparts, these lenses did do really well. Of course, they don't, focus as fast as the G Masters because they weren't built. The G Masters are built, for the drive mechanics of the new cameras, especially the newer cameras with the faster autofocusing systems. But I've been absolutely happy. I've been really happy with the image that I get from this 135 when I'm shooting street. I've been really quite happy with the image that I get from the 35 when I'm shooting photos and when I'm shooting film, when I'm recording videos. Both of these lenses are really very good. I have no complaints about the images that I get from these lenses, but it's just about the size of these lenses. And because of the size, especially this 35, I actually find myself not carrying it with me when I go out. This lens has actually been sitting here, in my studio, waiting for me to film things. And then, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, since I've gotten the 50mm, the 50mm has been taking a lot of work away from the 35, and I want to get back into shooting 35mm portraits. I want to get back into shooting 35mm street photos. I want to get back to filming things on my 35mm lens, but this lens is just too big and it's just too bulky. So I will be selling this 130. I will be selling this 35, and I will be selling this 135. And so what the goal is, which brings me to the second reason that I'm selling them, is I do want to go out and get the 35mm G Master, and I do want to go out and get the 135 G Master. Both are Sony branded lenses. And the thought behind that is that you guys have heard me talk about this. I've bought the A7 IV. I own that camera, and with the lens compensation and just pairing the camera with the Sony branded lenses, after shooting with this 50mm now for a couple months, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that these minor improvements for shooting with the lens and the camera together are enough to sell anybody on any one of them. But it's enough for me, now that I have the camera, to want those extra upgrades, to be able to use the faster drive speed and the faster autofocusing and the lens compensation, the focus breathing compensation, all of those things become really important since I already have the camera. And it just makes sense to me in my brain to go out and buy the lenses that I know that I'm going to use. I know that I'm going to use that 135 G Master because I know that I've been using this Sigma lens a lot for my street photos. And the 135 G Master is a lighter lens. It doesn't weigh as much. The Sony G Master 135, the Sony G Master 35mm 1.4 is a lighter lens than the 1.2. I know that I'm going to use those lenses now, and so it just makes sense to me to go out and grab those lenses while I absolutely have the ability to. And so I'm also selling 2 more lenses, and so these lenses are for all of you out there who are telling me that you because of videos that you've seen or because of videos that I've made, which, by the way, thank you guys so much for all of the kind comments that you guys have been making. I know that I don't have a lot of subscribers, but this little community that we're starting to build here, where you guys are letting me know that it's because of me that you bought an A7C or bought a Sony A7 IV or bought a Sony 20mm 1.8. That's been really encouraging to me, especially when I make these videos. And listen, the numbers aren't great, you know what I mean? But I do really enjoy making these videos It does really mean a lot to me when you guys tell me that you went out and you bought something because of my recommendation. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. I really like the community that we're starting to build here. And so anyway, for all of you guys who's told me that you've gone out and you've gotten an A7 IV and you're still using, you know, your APS-C lenses, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I stand by this. I stand by this with my entire heart. The Tamron zoom lenses are great lenses, great value for someone who is just getting into full frame cameras and are looking for the next lenses to buy. I've made the videos, you guys have heard me say it. I really think having a 24 to 70 millimeter equivalent lens is the best and probably the most important lens that you can buy as a new photographer. So I'm selling mine. I'm not saying that you guys need to buy it, but if you're looking for one, I will be selling it for super cheap. And I'm also selling my Tamron 70 to 180, which is, you know, the Sony 70 to 200 equivalent. Great lens, great value. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But what I find is that because of the 135, I'm not using that lens, you know, ever, because I shoot mostly primes now. I'm just in that stage of my photography where I shoot primes. I'm a prime shooter. I'm not using my zoom lenses ever. And so I'm going to be selling my 28 to 75 Tamron and my 70 to 180 Tamron along with the Sigma lenses, just to try to get back the money that I need to buy the G Masters. And so that's it. Those are the lenses. That's the gear that I'm selling. Those are the reasons. And yeah, if you guys are interested in any of it, please, again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you're interested in it, reach out. I'm letting it go for ridiculous prices. For instance, this is a $1,500 lens. I'm hoping to get somewhere, you know, $1,100 or something. So if you're interested, reach out. If you guys have any questions about anything, all of you guys who bought new cameras, you know, or you have any questions about what lenses I would recommend, leave those in the comments. I really appreciate the comments that you guys have been leaving. And with all of that being said, I think I'm going to end this video. I'm Jamil. You guys have been watching A Boy Named Jamil. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.